Hi everyone, this is Tom, and in this video, I want to talk about how to allocate your energy to get the most out of life. We only have so much energy in the day, and I know you probably hear people say all the time, I don't have enough time to get everything done. Or you say, do you want to do this thing? Why don't you pursue this, interest that you've got, write that book you want to write? Whatever it is, people will say, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't completely buy that because when you look at certain people in the world, they seem to do way more with the time that they have the same 24 hours that everybody else has that we do, but they get so much more done and they're able to do so many more things. So I don't believe that having time is always the issue. I think the issue is how much energy you have. And so, if you've only got a certain amount of energy in the day and you want to get so many things done, you need to figure out how to allocate that energy as effectively as possible. And that's what this video is all about. So, people think about energy as being sort of your physical energy. If you were to go and run a marathon, have to walk 10 miles to work, whatever it is, that's going to expend energy. But actually, 20% of your daily energy is used by your brain just thinking. Your brain uses an incredible amount of energy. If you sit down and you're doing some kind of intense academic activity, your brain is using energy incredibly fast. And so when it comes to allocating your energy, not only do you have to think about your physical energy, but also your mental energy. There's only so much mental energy that you have in a day. So, this daily energy, and also not just energy, but also your discipline and your ability to focus is limited. It's not like you can wake up at 5 in the morning and then focus all day long until midnight and be intensely working on some kind of project. You're going to need to allocate that resource to a certain extent and decide what you're going to spend that energy on. What happens if you don't consciously allocate the energy is that you'll end up just wasting it on things that don't bring you closer to your goals, don't give you a fulfilled life, don't allow you to achieve the things you want to achieve. Spend quality time with the people you want to spend time with. That energy just gets automatically allocated to much less, useful, interesting, um, and purposeful tasks. So, really, this video is about consciously being aware of how much energy you have in a day and then allocating that energy exactly how you want to allocate it. So, the first question is it possible to increase how much energy you have in a day? And I've found through experimenting a lot, I've always been aware of how much energy I have. I do tend to get tired by the end of the day. In fact, I was talking to my wife just a couple of days ago about this kind of topic and energy management. And she was describing people, kind of categorizing people as high energy people, low energy people. And I guess you'd probably have a whole spectrum. Most people would be kind of what you would say middle energy people. And she was saying I'm quite a high energy person. And I was a bit surprised by that because I always feel like my energy is quite limited and I do run out of energy. So, if anything, I was going to describe myself as a low energy person. And she was saying, no, that's not the right way to think about it. When I approach things, or when she was saying, when you approach things, it's a bit like a laptop that, has a certain work capacity and you're pushing your work capacity to the limit all the time. So the laptop, that fan, when you have a laptop and you're pushing it to do a task, the fan goes on and starts whirring quite noisily. And she was saying it's like you're always got the fan on maximum speed so your body can keep up with how much you're trying to do. And so I've always been aware of, how much energy I have and the importance of allocating it. And I've done lots of experiments to try and figure out, is it possible for me to increase how much energy I have so that I can get more done? And I found that there's certain things that really help to maximize how much energy I have. And there are other things that really bring that energy way down. So first, let's look at the things that I've found to maximize energy. Maximize energy. And I found some really key things that seem to help quite a bit. Firstly, number one, and if you're not following this um, important lifestyle factor, you're massively reducing how much energy you have, particularly over the long run. And that is quite a boring thing, is to increase how much sleep you have. If you're cutting your sleep short, you're really cutting into how much energy you have, and that will reduce your work capacity. So people kind of, especially in the space of productivity, may glamorize working all the time and allowing that work to cut into your sleep. So they'll say you finish your job, and then once you finish your job, get to work and work until like midnight, and they get up at 6 the next day and keep working. This is very short-sighted, and it doesn't work, because what happens is if you don't get enough sleep, your energy level, your focus, your ability to exert discipline will decrease, which means you won't get as much done. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, and alongside sleep, you could probably add in rest as well, so that you're rejuvenated and you have the maximum amount of energy in the day, because you're not going to work 16 hours flat out. You're just not going to be able to do it sustainably. So get that sleep in. Number two is diet. And I've particularly found this is more and more important as I've got older. At the minute, I found a diet that really helps to maximize and keep my energy levels as good as they can be the whole way through the day. And at some point, I'll go through a video and talk about my full diet in detail. But the principles of the diet are that it's low glycemic index. So I've cut out any kind of rapid carbohydrates that would spike my glucose level, because what I found is if I eat something like, a bowl of rice, pasta, any kind of junk food, pizza, that kind of stuff, what would happen is I might feel okay for the next 10, 20 minutes, but then I would crash, and the rest of the day, my energy levels would be really bad. If I eat a really low glycemic index diet full of vegetables, particularly fats like olive oil, avocado, sardines, things like that, my energy levels stay really consistent and I don't crash, and I'm able to do way more. So I'll go through my full details of my diet at some point in the future. But yeah, poor diet will really, really reduce your energy. Number three is to increase your fitness. And this means exercising. The important thing here is to exercise in a balanced way. Whenever you exercise, what will happen is then you'll have a period of recovery while you get better from that exercise. So if you're going to go out for a run, the run will feel hard. Then you'll have a period of a few days where your body's recovering. And during that few days, you might find your energy levels are lower because your central nervous system has had to expend energy to do that exercise. But over the long run, as your fitness increases, so too will your work capacity and your energy levels. So this building fitness is kind of a long-term lifestyle, and you need to do it in a moderate way if you're doing it to increase your energy levels. If you just hit the fitness really, really hard, run like 7 miles a day, lift weights as heavy as you possibly can, do loads of squats and deadlifts and stuff, this will eat into your energy because your body will constantly be recovering. So you've got to balance the fitness. And the fourth one is to reduce your weight, to to maintain a healthy weight. You don't want to be underweight because that will reduce your energy levels. You won't have any reserve there. You want to maintain a healthy weight with enough muscle mass and fitness to feel healthy. But you don't want to be overweight, or I found that when I was overweight, my body was just expending more energy to exist. And that includes being overweight, being too much fat, but also too much muscle. When I've been very sort of muscular in the past, all that muscle requires energy just to maintain it. And so if you're overweight, you're using extra energy just to maintain your basal metabolic rate, but also any movements that you do will require more energy. So maintaining a healthy weight gives you optimum energy levels. So these are just some very basic things, and it's kind of the stuff that you would know anyway. People talk about all the time. So what's the next topic we're going to talk about is your energy bucket. So this energy bucket, here's what it looks like. You start off with a bucket of energy, and this is your full bucket. So let's say you wake up in the morning and you've got a full bucket worth of energy. This is your daily energy allowance that you can allocate to whatever you want to do. But then immediately you start expending energy. So you've got some like morning tasks. So this is like, getting ready, getting showered, choosing your clothes, and all this kind of stuff that you have to do just to get out of the house, packing your bag. That all requires some energy to kind of get you going. Then you might have some other stuff, which is like caring, responsibilities. So if you've got kids, you may have to get the kids dressed, get them fed, get them off to nursery, get them off to school, whatever it is. Then you'll have some, socializing. On your way to work, some people want to chat to you, and that might take some energy. Then you might have the energy of commuting. Then you'll have some more energy that you need to expend, which will be, say, um, reading up on the news, etc. So this one might be, or social media. So all of these things are taking energy throughout the day. And then you got final one at the bottom is like leftover energy. So what you're trying to do, or what you're doing throughout the day, is you're expending all your energy on all of these different tasks, all of these things, and then you've got some leftover energy at the end. Now, if you can kind of push through for a short period of time and use more energy than you've been allotted. So this is kind of like the overdraft. So if you just keep pushing and you're not reserving any energy, you haven't got any energy left over, you'll kind of go into your energy overdraft. And then the next day, you'll find you wake up with less in your bucket. And if you do this day after day after day, eventually you'll just get to the point where you wake up with no energy and you feel terrible all the time. And you can kind of get to a state where you're in negative energy at the beginning of the day. And so you're immediately in your overdraft. So you're in this vicious cycle of getting more and more and more tired. And so what you're ideally trying to do is keep your energy expenditure within your bucket and leave some leftover energy at the end of each day. But this means that you only have so much energy that you can expend, and you need to allocate that consciously. So, how do you do that? Well, first thing that I'd recommend is that you cut back on things that take your energy that you don't really want to do. So, this is almost like a minimalist um, energy strategy. So, what you're doing is cutting back on the things that cost you energy that are not helping you get towards your goals or live a fulfilled lifestyle. A lot of things you spend your energy on are optional. And if you cut them out, you'll have more energy to spend on the things that really matter to you. So there's a few things I would suggest here. Number one is a low information input. So cut back on all the information you're taking in. Anytime you're taking in information, whether that's social media, reading the news, watching TV, listening to any kind of sort of podcast, things like that, all of those things have their place and they're valuable to an extent. But what I'm trying to push in this video is to consciously make a decision about what you do. So if you find that listening to a podcast gets you really pumped up and excited about the day, and it gives you more energy to go out and pursue your interests, that's great. But if you find that you consciously think about it and scrolling on social media means that you're low on energy the rest of the day, this may be worth cutting out. So what I would suggest is reduce social media. So if you find that you're scrolling on social media and it's kind of draining your energy, draining your enthusiasm, um, it may be worth trying to cut back on that as much as you can. When you scroll through social media, what you're doing is making thousands of tiny little decisions. So if you see something that kind of stimulates you, you make a decision to watch more of it. You kind of use some brain power to process that information, and then you move on to the next thing and the next thing. What you're doing is just zapping all of your mental energy and your discipline. And then the rest of the day, you're paying for that because you don't have any left over. Things like the news, also messages. If you're getting in an argument or you're messaging something about a topic you're passionate about, that is also zapping your energy. All of those things are fine if that's your choice to do that, but what I'm trying to make you conscious of is that this is always a trade-off. You want to either allocate your energy here, or if you've got other things you want to do, it may be worth cutting back on those things that take your energy so that you've got more energy left over for the important stuff. Number two is automate decisions. So you've got so many decisions to make throughout the day, particularly if you're doing like an intensive career or job that requires lots of decisions. When I'm a GP, I'm making hundreds of decisions all the time about prescriptions, medications, tasks, letters from the hospital, patients' presentations, queries. All of these things are requiring lots and lots of decisions. And you've probably heard this term decision fatigue. The more decisions you make, the harder it is to make decisions in the future. And so, if you can automate as many decisions as possible, that helps to free up decision making energy so you can better make decisions going forwards. So, what you might find is if you've made loads of decisions throughout the day, by the time it gets to, say, 6 o'clock and you're thinking about what to have for your evening meal and you want to eat something healthy, but because you've made so many decisions throughout the day, you have decision fatigue and you think, oh, I'll just have that like takeaway unhealthy food. And so, because of your decision fatigue, you make bad decisions later in the day, and that has a knock on effect. Maybe don't feel as perky the next day. you start gaining weight, you start feeling unwell. So conserving your decisions is important. So that means what you can do is automate your decisions. For example, your clothes, and you'll find as you watch these videos, my fashion sense is pretty bland. I have a kind of set uh a set outfit, a set of clothes that I would just go to, so I don't have to think too much about what I'm wearing. Then you've got food. If you can make food decisions in advance, prepare your meals so that you're just ready to take them with you. That cuts down on your decisions. Um, Things like chores. So you have a set routine of what you do when you wake up. You just go through this routine that involves kind of clearing the kitchen, brushing your teeth, having a shower, whatever it is. They're all set in stone, so you don't have to think about them. You don't have to make decisions. They all just happen automatically, leaving you with lots more decision making capacity in the future. So, this is like routines. The more things you can automate, the less decisions you make, which leaves you free to use those decisions for good things throughout the day. You'll have more energy left over. So, number three is to define your goals. So, this is really a case of being conscious of what your goals are. So, what do you want to spend your time on? If you don't have a clear vision of what your goals are and what you want to spend your time and energy on, you'll find that everything else in life comes in and takes the place of that important thing. So it's very easy if you don't define what you're trying to do and where you're trying to get to, life will just have a way of filling all your time and energy for you. And then you'll be left over with nothing at the end of it, no progress on anything at the end of the day. And many years will just go past without anything kind of really happening the way you want it to. You have to clearly define what you want to do and then allocate time and energy to those things. So that means looking at, okay, one of my goals is I want to get more fit, I want to get more healthy. So I need to go to the gym. So I'm going to allocate time and energy to going to the gym at this particular time of day, say 3 or 5 days a week. And because you've defined the goals, that makes it much more clear where you're going to spend your energy. And if you want to have a look at some of my other videos about defining goals and my weekly reviews, you can see how I do this process. And then the final thing I would say is use your peak time wisely. So I got another video about this, but what you'll find is that there is a particular time of day where you're at your peak energy and your peak motivation. And that time of day is worth really blocking off to use as wisely as you can. So for me, that time of day is first thing in the morning. So from about 6 a.m. until about midday. And so I always block that time to be used for my highest priority stuff. I don't want to be wasting my time at say 9 in the morning when I'm at my peak. I don't want to be doing low value activities that have just come at me out of nowhere. So I don't want to spend 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. scrolling social media, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, not doing productive stuff. Or, just making decisions about what I'm going to wear for the day, whatever it is. I want to be spending that peak time doing my hardest, most challenging, most important work and trying to get the most out of that peak energy level. So figure out what's your peak time for you. That might be the morning, like me. That might be midday. That might be the afternoon or evening. Everybody has a slightly different peak time. figure out what that peak time is and make sure you're not wasting it every day. Make sure you're using it wisely for your most important activities. So, hopefully, that helps you to be more conscious of your energy throughout the day and using and allocating that energy for the things that are most important to you. Let me know if this video was helpful. Let me know if you want to see anything particular in the future, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.